properties. Hey? Yeah? There you go. For some reason, OBS is just like, nope, no sound. Time to be a big shot. What's his face? Kazuma? He's gonna discover the hyperlink blocked. Uh-oh. Did I not save correctly? Oh no, I didn't save. Okay, well, we should be able to get through this quickly enough, right? Wait, how long ago was this? How long ago was this? Whoa, whoa, whoa! Wait a second! Oh, that's why. I'm playing in the wrong profile. I should be playing as Tamama Bitch. She's the lawyer after all. There we go. Wonder if I forgot everybody's voices. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band, Episode 2.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room
Proof that Wilson is gay, because he's like, wow, Sholmes is so competent.
Corner when he started
No, the original the original Ace Attorney games had
perplexing final words.
Why am I talking over the dialogue?
I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened
Not a subtractor.
to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Ninth of January, 6:37 a.m. On board the steamship Burya. That would be expensive.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me.
He's already
The
dead?
door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed.
Dio!
To suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way? So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
And what do you think you're doing here?
It's heavy!
No one must touch before maritime police come.
It's Team Fortress 2 heavy.
That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Why is she British? I guess because she learned British
And where have
English.
you come from? I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Hi? You okay over there, Ade? My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Oh, nothing. You just murdered somebody else again. Wait, I can't move. Ah, what the? Why am I in handcuffs? Oh yeah? Heavy medic fanfiction from Amelia Watson. Cool. I don't know who this is. Oh, so you wake up now, hmm? There we go, this guy. I'm not gonna try doing a Russian accent for this guy. I cannot even bother. I cannot do that. We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I'm not gonna... I can't even do a British accent. I can't do accents. I try to do a British accent and it slowly becomes a Spanish, French, Russian, German, everything accent. So it doesn't work. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You... Kermit the Frog voice. That's not even what I was trying to do for version G. You found me then. Duh, we found you. And now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, hmm? Sorry. No, you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, hmm? Cold, huh? No, I'll tell you everything. Yeah, I don't know who this is. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Oh. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Isata? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Huh! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. He discovered the hyperlink blocked. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body. Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? You can't be. These handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. No! Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Yeah, we had to bury the gays. Or at least one of them. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? And also do other things. Like studying. It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. Oh wait, shit! Fuck! The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought it was going to die. Yes. I still can't believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Wow, Ryunosuke's able to do like the thing in Demon Slayer where they get like smaller and fit inside a box. That looks like a pretty big box though. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No. But if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. Anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Forced back into the closet. Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. That's gay. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Duh, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but... Yeah, there was only one bed. Slept in the closet. Murdering my best friend? Not just my best friend, but you know... No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Occasionally, I've just like sort of tried to do an Russian accent and do badly at it. Susato-san, Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Those eyes, she looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Chasmus' killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from inside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped through these four walls. What? Or, to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Sato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. I don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Well, yeah, because his boyfriend is in the closet. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato arrived at his cabin door? I wonder. I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. Yeah, he seriously was sleeping in the closet, wasn't he? He just sleeps in the closet. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Well, I mean, think about it. How's he supposed to put that tape, that like paper on over the doors when he's inside? Somebody else must have put the tape on the doors. I've told you everything that I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes, I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I think it's because something I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. It's because I'm in love with you. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Oh, wait, shit. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, it's because I'm in love with you. If you were to become a lawyer, then we could spend more time together. No. Then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes, then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Yes, change the Japanese legal system. In other words, make gay marriage legal. Unfortunately, because Kazuma died, they still don't quite have it there in Japan. Susato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on this ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. We ate together, and he fed me, and no. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed. Well, yes. Oh no, it's red. Is it lagging? Has it been lagging? It lagged for a second. A little bit. Well. I got a new cable, so I'm gonna go plug it in right quick, and then I'll continue. So we'll see if that helps. I should have plugged it in beforehand, but you know, I can't do that when I'm listening to It's Your Chance to Be a Big Shot over and over and over again. So let me go. Okay, I plugged in directly. So now it should be better. Hopefully. I know it sounds unbelievable. Really, I do. But it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Sounds like a gas attack. Sounds like there was a gas leak. You were killed by... What's his face was killed by Lancer. Which Lancer? Who knows? Is something wrong? No, it's... please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I have no reason to go on. What am I fighting for? I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry. But Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No! I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hey-ya! Wow, suplex. What the? That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? What martial art form is that? Well, I'm dizzy by being upside down. I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago. You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. Do we even have anything in the... Oh, we do have evidence. What's it say? It says keep out. This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember really working hard to make it. But I'll never forget how Kazuma reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? He said. Still, I was sure people would get the idea, even if they couldn't read it. So we used it anyway, and it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. You can see the remnants of the glue we used to stick this over the wardrobe doors. Although it wasn't proper glue, of course. We didn't have any of that with us. So I pulverized some rice into paste to use instead. But to a stowaway like me, every single grain of rice represents precious rations. That's why I spread it as thin as I possibly could. I couldn't bear to waste any. Huh? I can't find anything out of place. Oh, it does that when you can't. There's nothing interesting. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So, naturally, he did the same last night as well. No. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this out the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Are we just gonna stay upside down like this? We're just like lying down, upside down. Wait, are we lying down? Are we hanging from the rafters right now? I don't understand. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Oh, maybe he's tied to a chair. We're on the ground. But, well, the way that they set up the scene kind of just looked like we couldn't have actually been on the ground just because of the positions of things, but you know. Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am? A magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Oh, I already did the talking. Wait. What? Why are the controls so very... This isn't very analog sticky at all. I can't like move it just a little bit. Yeah, because on the mouse you have on the PC you have mouse, don't you? If I can't use the touchscreen because that means I have to take the Switch out of the dock, and then there's no video output anymore. So this is, yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean contraption? Shit. Is this a red herring? Are we gonna, is it the snake again? Is it the speckled band? What do you mean contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Servants of the caster class. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. It requires a bit of the third magic. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. It takes a little bit of time, you know. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused. I forget to look around properly. Oh, yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruto-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using the D-pad, aren't you? Now let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Yeah. For some reason I'm locked within the 16:9 rectangle. Yeah, we can't actually like look, we can't turn all the way around. This is as far as we can look around. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough. Or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no. I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So, yes, I did basically have to live in that wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. I think you would have just also died too if you were out here Ryunosuke. No, sadly not. Oh cool, they put a little check mark on it if you've already checked it. That's so cool. All these this tiny quality of life improvement from the previous games, and I'm just like, holy shit, that's so cool. They put a check mark on it. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means, what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hiya! That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Love rifles. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which in hindsight I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. And I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear. Being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Sisato takedown. Okay, let's not look at that just yet. I wanna look. That's not. For a second there, it's like, what? It's not flashing when I go over the things there. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they're all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked, and everything mown down at once. I wonder if... perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. No, don't. What the hell? Don't do that. Why are you doing that? You're messing with the evidence too. God. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Dang. So no wonder Ryunosuke had to stow away. Because Chasmus, yeah. What? Why are you staring at me? She making the same connection? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. I want to avoid all the super obvious things first. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. Yeah, me too. I want roast chicken. That sounds good. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. And the knife, too. There's nothing on this table at all. Well, I mean, there's a sheet there. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. Huh? So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No. What? How do you get that? Seigi. The Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true. Just like Kazuma. Well, that's false. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet you... Can you really look at these characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? He's one of those things. Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship. Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. Yeah, well, Kazuma's the one who wrote that, and he's the one who stowed Ryunosuke away. So he really is neither straight nor true. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. Who is he anyways? Just who the hell do you think he is? I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. What do you think this is? Looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. Oh, it was cut, I guess. With the sword. That doesn't make sense. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's definitely a small bolt and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense, all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. Did the what? Did it lag, or are you just... Oh, that's on your end? Your Wi-Fi died? RIP. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. The guy. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes. But it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. You might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Yet, of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Did he? Flustered? About what? Okay, make sure I got everything else that's less obvious. Yeah, I got the grate. That up there. I'm guessing somebody or something came through that. Hmm? Oh, still need to check these ones first. These things down here. I just was avoiding the obvious ones first. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. And I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. Partner, huh? But also, like, has there ever been, like, a single... has there ever been, like, a single, like, Ace Attorney case where the writing on the floor is reliable at all? I don't think that's Japanese Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? What language could it have been? On this boat that seems to be manned entirely by Russians. Huh? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he? You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press on A on people, when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights, and see what he has to say for himself. That's right, he's gonna put Sholmes in his sights. Oh, please do. Excuse me? Excuse me, do you have a moment? God, I don't... Am I gonna do Kermit the Frog voice? I don't know if I can do that. Not on purpose. I wasn't trying to do... I can't. I don't know what voice to do for him, but I don't want to do Kermit the Frog. critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. And he's gone. Oh, he's here. Greedy. Didn't get to read what he said. What exactly were you doing on Chasmus' desk just now? I see. I see. Fascinating. Sorry, what do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Yes. Everything is clear now. Johnny Bravo! Johnny Bravo voice. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. I'm trying to give him like a surfer guy voice. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? Susato should be like, how did you know that? And then Naruto's like, but I've never been to Afghanistan and you know that yourself. It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. Is he actually a Sholmes, or is he just a Sholmes fan? What's going on here? You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the beribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you aren't talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. With JoJo pose. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruto-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. No way Hey, yeah! Susato-san is stupid too. She has very strong Maya vibes. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. But was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. My apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Holmes? Starshock. The very same. The inimitable, actual Sherlock Holmes. Oh, yeah, you definitely are the real Sherlock Holmes, right? Do you know this man, Sesta-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruto-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. You know, I think the real person who killed Chasmus is right here. It's Susato. See, right there, her name. It has sus in it. Susato. What planet have I been living on then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed. I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Oh, you should be able to reopen that. If you go to history, and then you can reopen your window. Do you need help with that? Oh, you got it. Okay. Oh, I see. You're German? Hairlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh, I see. Okay. Did you close the window because of the Susato joke? Was it that terrible? Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Oh, I see. Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment, I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in a subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. Thinking about it, I shouldn't have given him this voice. I should have given him Nicolas Cage. Just because it'd be funnier. Oh well. As I demonstrated only a few moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I see. In other words, I'm at least now because of him. When I became anxious about Chasmus Diary this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes! Luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Holmes was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Mr. Holmes, tell us please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah yes, but first let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1. The cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2. But I'm still only just holding up one hand. The victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Holmes. What made you think the victim is Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Yeah, I can't read that. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderob. Maybe the name of the killer? Maybe a certain Robert Gard, perhaps? But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? Now I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This is taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that. Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? I can't read that. Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Russian. I am going to drink some juice. Juice has been drinking. Drunk? Your deduction just now. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. The now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of his 16 part? Oh yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yeah, because that guy looks exactly like Naruhodo. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Villain Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Dang, if only that was easy. If only it were that easy. Words. Please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? That's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Oh yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds that the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? I wonder. And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it, anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. An article on the front page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, Revolutionary Wieland Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. Really? I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary Wieland Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, right? Wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Interesting that they don't add the check mark here on the observation page. Huh. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruto-san? Well, no, I mean it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Oh, I'm glad you noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Ah, thank you. He pops up everywhere, that's Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea. but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Sisito-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. I'm gonna stop in like 30 minutes. Or, you know, as soon as I leave this room, basically. Either I leave this room or like 30 minutes. Oh, it's gonna be a while before I leave this room, isn't it? The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. They're rushing out of the country. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruto. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. What were you just investigating? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Oh yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. It could upset someone. Tragic, and something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Sisito takedown is. Sisito-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruto-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim, it would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray, be precise as to details. But I thought you knew Japanese? A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So, what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just two short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there in the wall, which connects the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Chasmus Diary has been entered into the court record. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. If I'm still too long, the seasickness take holds. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. These... After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No. There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. We have to accept fate. Now he's just being played rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Yeah, we don't want to accept fate. What has fate done for us? Can we look at this? Oh, we can just... It's just text, okay. Now, Harusan, what are you just standing there for? Huh? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Hey-ya! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? Ugh. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin, while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. I owe it to Kazuma to do everything. Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. The other voice is seeping into me, Ryunosuke. It's so... Is something wrong, Naruto-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes? What can I do for you? Oh, it's this guy. Yes, what can I do for you? I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. He is still doing the waiter pose. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders. No, to go undercover as a member of the crew and board the ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Special orders. So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? He's undercover, obviously. I'm sorry. Huh? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as a Sogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jikoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that have been a possibility? I'm not sure, but these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jikoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer. Of course not! We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruto-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you are in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright. Yes, I think I know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Is the up? No. What button is that? That's the... There is no button. Oh, it's not a button there. It's over here. What's that? It's Chasmus Diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Speckled. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asugi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Yep. First class is Kazuma's cabin, and it's a cabin on the SS Bria, and the scene of the crime. Kazuma was occupying this cabin for the voyage to Britain, along with me as a stowaway. Kazuma-sama's quarters. First and foremost, we must get out of this cabin. This is the first class passageway. The passageway that connects the first class cabins on the SS Bria. 9th January, 7:48 a.m. SS Buria, first class cabin. Passageway. I'm finally out of the cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on a study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation and steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous. Even if he is sitting down, it's heavy. Like, heavy weapons guy. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. A boy shop. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Chasmus' trunk when I first came aboard, and ever since then I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. I'll go for another 7 minutes and then we'll call it. Because then it'll be like 10. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what is called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. It's a piece of chalk. Jeez, I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruto-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But, I suppose you're right. He was just gonna pick up the cheese and eat it out of the fucking trap. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Chasmus leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin. It's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... how many cabins are there? This is a big ship. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? A very pleasing shape. That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. How did that work back then? Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruto-san? You mustn't touch it. He was gonna press the alarm. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop. This ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. God. Oof. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Excuse me, we, need to get inside this cabin here? The sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out. That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Himbo. Well, this man's version is definitely more effective. It doesn't look like he's going to let us pass. That's a problem. This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck, look. Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan. Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. Yeah, I imagine that would bother you as a geologist. It's a huge book on top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Why is it here? Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. Yeah, technically the continental plates do in fact float. But it's not floating on the water. And land tends to push the water plates down. Yeah, it's not floating on water, it's floating on magma. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. Sailor's not happy about that. And nothing, no reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there is nothing to report. I'll finish the examines here and then I'll call it. That's the end. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Chasmus' death remains a mystery anyway. Okay, and then this guy. Excuse me, but can I ask you something? You? You little stowaway murderer? That wasn't a good start, was it? Oh, that wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You? You little third-class lady's maid? Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susuto-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. Stroganoff. I am senior crewman, Beef Stroganoff. He's Beef Stroganoff, guys. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Secret, only girls know. First class cabin area. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first class cabin area? Here we are in finest part of Burial steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? I guess that's Da. Sisata-san, did you understand that? It sounded like duh. I think it's probably Russian for yes? Or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. More text? Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is an authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably since the gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins. He must be rather important, is that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Duh, all time, so criminals like you cannot come in, or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Her! Het! Het? Is that what it says? Het? I can't... Russian! Her? Sisata-san, did you understand that? Oh, yeah. Het! He saw het, like headers. It was clearly a no. Yeah. Yeah. I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. You didn't hear any strange noises, or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no! Sorry! I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, all right. Bulkhead to second-class area, staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly. Shall we? Definitely. Oh, I see. Okay, well that's it for tonight. There you go. Thanks for coming. Yeah, second murder in like a month. My second murder? I'd say it's the third one because a couple nights ago, I saw somebody murder what's it called? Freeze some chicken, and that was that one too. All right. Good night, guys. Thanks for watching. Next time we'll go into that other room.